Hey everyone, this is Evgeny and I welcome you in the next video about LangGraph Introduction series. So far we've learned a lot of different stuff about LangGraph, how to do different things, and now I think it's time to try and build something more complex just using all these concepts. Alright, today we will try to build a multi-agent research pipeline with LangGraph, as the title says, and it will be quite a lengthy video because there are a lot of stuff we have to implement, but we will touch a lot of concepts we learned already. So in general, how our application would look like, right? We do have 3 steps. So first we are starting with a topic, and we are starting with building a team of analysts. So having the topic, we'll try to collect some different professionals, and also we will have a human feedback here, so human in the loop concept, and it will be up to us to double check that all the people, kind of agents in this team, are capable of processing the topic and can bring some value then. So human in the loop is involved. And after that, what we do, every analyst will perform a series of interviews with experts. So people or entities or agents that are capable or knowledgeable in specific area, and so the number of interviews will happen, and the experts, they will be using also external sources to prepare the answers. So it will be a session like question answer thing, and as a result each analyst will create a section where all the gathered information will be described, including all the links or references to the documents. And final step is pretty easy. We do have a technical writer, another AI agent, who will be collecting all these sections, grabbing all the information from sections, combining it together, and creating a proper report or research paper. And that's the final result. So this is the pipeline we are trying to build today. Alright, let's start from the first step, which means building a team of analysts. And let me define some basics first. And here we are, right? So what do we have here? We have a definition of analyst, and in scope of this application, we are interested only in some fields. And this organization where this person works, full name, job title, and some about information like what this person is interested in, what it cares about. So what's the pluses of this person to be in the team. And there's a new technique. You can see I defined field from Pedantic library, and this field also, why I did that, because we have a description of every field, and this is really crucial here because it's not for us for readability, but this is for the model to better understand the fields, because what we are going to do, we are going to send the topic we are going to work on and ask model to get us to provide us a list of specialists, and we want to see some details about the specialists, and here we are saying the model what these fields are and what we are expecting them to have, right? So this is the idea. Then we have a profile which just enumerates all the properties in one place, and we can use it for printing it, or we will be using it in the model itself, like for generating our prompts. In the future you'll see it. And then we have the team of analysts, and this is just a list of analysts, and again we are providing field because again we will ask, we are going to work with structured outputs here, and this is the way how to send some hints to the model, so it knows, it's aware what kind of information needs to be there. And for this step, we have the graph state and list setup. And here what we have a topic, something we are going to gather information about and create a researching paper at the end. We can define number of analysts, so how many people or entities will be working on that. Then we have this editorial feedback, and this is so-called this human in the loop. So if we see that we don't like someone or we are missing something, then this is our chance to put some information here. And finally, we get the result of this graph, this list of analysts that we are happy with. Right, so let me define this basic stuff first, and then let's go to the graph itself. So we do have a problem main not here, and it takes the state analyst setup, which we saw already, right? And here's the thing, we are saying, okay, your task is to create a team of AI analysts, and we do have a topic which we are going to dig into, right? And also there could be a human feedback already, so if it's there, then you have to take this into account as well. And All right, so we are trying to configure it here. So at the end, we would like to see the list of analysts who are going to work on that. And so we are configuring our LLM with structured output, and the format we are interested in is team of analysts. And as I said, it takes here, it's a list of analysts, and the whole field is about having a list of people, right, given their input on the topic, and then every analyst, you can also see the details. So all this information, when you do the structured output, it will go to a model and will be used by model for fine-tuning the response. And so where we are saying, okay, there's a system message which we saw already, and then human message, okay, we are saying create a team of analysts for this topic, right? And then back we have this list of analysts. This is the basic idea of this node. Then we do have human feedback, and this is a dummy node. We saw this already in previous lessons already, and it's the only purpose here is just to highlight that there is a possibility that human can interject into the flow and add some feedback. But it just passes through, right? And we do have this conditional age function, which defines which way we should go. And it's pretty simple, right? We're just grabbing human feedback from the state. And if we do have it, then we are going back to build team of analysts. Otherwise, we are finishing the graph. And now we are building our graph, right? So it's pretty simple. We have this analyst setup. We have built team of analysts, human feedback, and practically that's it. Let me compile it. So you see, it is pretty straightforward, right? We are making an attempt to build a team, then we have a human feedback, and we are interrupting before, so we stop here and waiting for human feedback. And then if there is a feedback, then we're going back and rebuilding our team, changing something in the setup. Otherwise, we're just finishing. So that's the idea of this part of the first step of our graph. And let's give it a try and see how it works. This is the graph, right? And we are defining topic as what model context protocol is and why it makes AI smarter. Pretty actual topic these days, right? And we want to see only 3 persons there. And let's run it. Okay, we do have this 3 person, and take a look. It was clever enough to provide all the fields. It generated the names, which looks like real ones, the title, organization, and some hobbies or some about information what the care is about, right? And let's say we have AI researcher, we have system architect, and we have professor even of computer science. And if I check the state, we are on the human feedback here. So it's pretty expectable, right? So we stopped here and we are waiting for human feedback. And what our feedback could be, well, I could say, I'm a developer, guys. I don't see a developer here. Like, we are missing this point of view dramatically. We have to add it. This kind of specialist in our team, right? This is the idea. So we are trying to update our graph, and we are adding editor human feedback. And this is, I think it would be helpful to add an analyst who focuses on a real coding thing, right? And again, we are changing the state and making it from and not human feedback. This technique also was shown in the previous lessons. So applying it, we do have the updated configuration, and from there we can resume our graph, right? And again, we are just replicating what we learned already. So we are putting here none, which means we don't want to start a new thing. We wanted to resume it only. And let's start it, resume it, and see the new team, right? How it looks like. So we have the first 3 from the previous attempt, that's expectable, and now we have another 3. And if I open it in full screen, the last 3 should be our current team. So we do have AI research scientists. We have now senior software developers, I asked, right? And we have AI ethic analyst. So let's say we're happy with this team of 3. Everything is fine, right? What does it mean? We are still in human feedback, and this time we don't have any. So what we are doing, we are clearing it. Just saying none, we don't have any feedback. And again, we are making this change as a node human feedback. So let's update the graph. We are here, and then we again resuming it further. And also at the end, like we are just pre-printing all our analysts. So I'm running it. And what do we have here? First, we can see that next step is empty. So the graph finished completely. And then we have a team of 3 specialists. And the one I like the best is senior software developers, part of the team now. That's a really cool thing. All right, we are finished with this step number 1. And again, this was the graph. We prepared it, and we are ready to move on right to the next step. So next thing we are going to work on is interviewing. And for that, again, we have another state. interview session. And what do we have here? We have max turns, and this is how many cycles of discussion of this question answer session you're going to have here, because you have to restrict your agents, otherwise they can talk forever and then you're paying money for that, right? So you put here some valuable limits like 2, 3. We'll be using 2. We do have sources, and this is all the researched documents like we found on the internet that corresponds to our topic will be collected. We have the analyst, because this is a single session, so we do have an analyst who is performing this session from the team. We're also going to keep the full conversation between the analyst and expert. And finally, we are collecting here report sections, and this already kind of the output of this graph, and we are putting here a list because in the future we are going to apply to utilize another concept, mapReduce, and every interview session will be happening in mapReduce in parallel. So our analysts will be talking to experts at the same time in the parallel threads. So this is our state for this graph, and let me apply it. And now we have to define nodes for this new subgraph, right? So the first thing we have is ask questions. The important thing here you have to memorize, we are defining the system message for AI analyst, and we are defining the profile. So the name, the title, the interests will be posted here, and we are defining the way how this analyst should behave, right? And it keeps asking questions until it's not clear. And when this analyst doesn't have any questions, like everything's cleared now, right, then there is a keyword you have to say. This analyst has to say like, thank you so much for your help. And this is not just a politeness here, right, that this is kind of a flag which tells the expert that, okay, our conversation is finished. And this is really crucial concept, because expert also should be aware that, okay, it's finished, I don't have to reply anything yet. So all the information is gathered, and just remember this thing, this piece of text, we will see it later. And all right, what we are doing in general, it's another cycle, it's a dialogue, right? So question, answer, and we will be asking questions several times, possibly. So we do have the system message which defines the way how analysts should behave, and then we are providing a list of messages, and that contains all the conversations we have between analyst and expert. And the rest is pretty simple, right? We just grab the response from the model to the messages, adding on the top, and just the conversation happens this kind of way. And what we have here, we have a prompt. Now let's start from the search task as another model. And the same technique, we are defining that there is a search text, and the reason we have it here because it describes a search query to find useful information. And again, we are going to utilize the structured outputs, and this field, it helps the model to understand the reason of this field to be here, right? So what we are doing here, we have a search prompt. And we are saying, okay, you have a conversation between analyst and expert, and you have to focus on the last question from analyst and reformat it into the search query. So it's possible to do the search, to seek out on the internet for information about what analyst is asking, right? And then we are using this in search verb, and it's pretty straightforward. Again, we touched it a couple of times already. We do the search, we are generating a list of documents here, and the same we do with Wikipedia. I'm not going to go deeper here, just refresh your memories if you're missing something in the previous videos, right? And then we have another not answer questions, and this one belongs to expert. So what's happening here? We are saying, okay, you're communicating with the analyst of that profile, and it asks you a specific question, and here are the sources of the documents that can answer the question. So your responsibility is to analyze the documents and answer the question. And so we have this dialogue going from expert to analyst. At the end, they're finished, everything is cleared, we need to save the results. And so we do have a couple of other notes like save interview. And here we are saving the whole conversation as a single string, and I will show you later how it looks like. And then based on this collected information, we ask analysts to write report section about that. So the analyst went through the interview, it asks all the questions, it gets all the results. The whole interview is saved, like kind of recorded somewhere, right? And then the last thing that analyst has to do is create a report on this piece of information. This is the idea. And again, there are different rules that move it to the right direction, and we are providing also the interview transcript to analyze, and this is the full conversation, and also a list of documents with the information there as well. Also, we are highlighting some facts that first, we expect that transcript is used because this is the result of the dialogue, right, as a source of information, and the list of documents can be used as a reference only just to make the idea more clear here, right? To put a reference, for example. So let me define this one. And next thing we have to define for this graph is a conditional age. And this is the one I was saying to you because, again, this is the cyclic conversation from analyst to expert, and they need to understand where to finish. And there are two cases where they can stop the conversation. The first one, they reach the maximum turns allowed here, like 2, 3 I mentioned there, right? So it checks it here, like if it's max turn, if it's not defined, okay, they will take 2 as a default. Or the other trigger to finish the conversation would be that there is a thank you so much for your help from assistant, which means that assistant is finished and there is no reason to continue the dialogue. So this conditional age decides if it goes to the saving interview and preparing all this kind of gathered information, or asking another question and start another round of talking. And let me define it. Now we have everything in place and we can try and construct the graph. So again, it's pretty straightforward, just adding nodes, adding ages. We do have this conditional age, and we saw it already, and it could ask another question and save the interview. And the interview is finished, then we save it and write the section, not we, but analyst. I'm compiling it, and here how it looks like. And just again, the analyst asks a question, then based on that question, the expert searches in the web and Wikipedia in parallel, then answering the question, and then based on some information, like if it was second, third round already, then it goes to save interview, otherwise the conversation keeps going, right? And then it saves and write report section. So this is what's happening. And let's give it a try because it's a pretty big graph and we are interested if it's working at all, right? So we grabbing the one analyst from our list, and this was Dr. Lisa Thompson, AI research scientist. And what we're going to do, we are starting a new thread. We are asking the same question, topic, what model context protocol is, and we are starting the conversation as a message from analyst, like just to trigger the dialogue, right? And so Lisa is saying, I'm researching the topic, what model context protocol is, and I would like to ask you a few questions here. And we start the graph, and we take the analyst, Lisa, and the messages, which at the moment has the initial trigger message only, and we are limiting our max turns, the cycle, to 2. And then we're just trying to grab the result and see what report section, so see what Lisa wrote at the final step here based on the dialogue. All right. And 52 seconds later, we have the report section written by Lisa. And you can see there is a summary about the dialogue, like the gathered information and some sources mentioned as well. And what's also interesting, we can check the conversation that happened between Lisa and the expert, and just take a look. And Lisa started with this trigger message, I am researching the topic, what model context protocol is, and then the expert says, okay, hello, Dr. Thompson, I'm glad to have the opportunity to speak with you about something, this model context protocol. And there are some questions like, additionally, could you provide a specific example? And then a response, I guess, right? And then it finished everything. And then all this information went as a final response, right? And that would be enough, probably. Sorry, so a lot of different talking, like two chat GPTs talking to each other. All right, anyway, this is it. It works, and we can move to the next step. And next step is build a final report. And what you need to do here, what you need to understand first, this was the single expert talking to analyst, and we have a bunch of them, we have a team, right? And I was saying that we're going to run it in parallel with mapReduce concept, and we need to prepare for that, right? But first, let's start from this overall, this time it's a really overall graph state and research project state. So what do we have here? We partially have the same from the previous graph. So we do have a topic, we have number of analysts in a team, we have human feedback, we have list of analysts, practically team itself, right? We do have report sections, also a list of outputs from analysts like this one. And since this is mapReduce and we are going to merge somehow the results, then we are using reducer here. We showed this technique already as well. And gathering all this information, we can start working on the final report. And we have the introduction of the report, we have the content, the main body of the report, the conclusion, and then we are generating the final report, which will be the result of our pipeline at the end. And let me apply it first. So let's start from mapReducing first, and for that we need to define this conditional age function I mentioned already, which uses send, and this is also, we had a lesson on that, so you should be aware how it works. So what's happening here, we take this tab, analysts, interview experts, and this is the whole graph, right? It's not a single node, it's a graph which performs all this work. And we are saying for every analyst from our team, we are going to execute this graph in parallel, providing the analyst itself and providing the message, triggering the conversation. So the same, I'm researching the topic of AMCP, and I would like to ask you a few questions. And this one triggers the mapping stage here, right, in mapReduce. And then we have everything in place. We have to define the final nodes that are working with the results of what analysts prepared for us. So we do have the report summary, and this is pretty straightforward. We have a topic, we have some rules, and we have a list of report sections, and we are asking to generate a summarization in a single report, right? The same way works introduction, also the same kind of data. We have a topic, we have report sections, and we're asking to provide an introduction, and the same for conclusion. And having these three pieces, we can finally finalize the report. It has nothing to do with AI at the moment. We have three pieces of information, just merging them together in a proper report and saving it to final report. And we are almost finished here, so we have all the components in place. Now we can build everything up in a bigger overall graph that covers everything. And we are adding all the nodes. We are adding edges, and we have a conditional age from between graphs, for like I will show you later when you have the image of this graph, but in general, this conditional age decides if we should go back because of human feedback and regenerate our team of experts, or we can start this second step. And then we have these pretty standard ages. And here we are merging our pieces to a single finalized report, right? And let me compile it. And this is the result of our today's work. It's pretty huge, right? And just again, we're starting, we're building a team of analysts. We have a human feedback here, and we can either rebuild a team based on the input, on the human feedback, or we can say that, okay, team is ready, we can start the second step. And here we are asking a question to start a dialogue and then searching information. An expert answers it and goes back to the asked question. So here's the detailization probably happens, and this cycling all the time until it's finished. So when analyst says, okay, that's fine, I'm finished, then it goes here, otherwise it goes another way, right? Or the number of rounds exceeded, so we go in next to saving the interview results and writing report section. This analyst performs that. And the whole this yellow thing, it's a single analyst interviews expert, and we do have team of analysts. So every single analyst will be run in parallel as a mapReduce schema, right? And at the end, when we are ready here, we are merging all this information and writing report introduction, summary, and conclusion, and then we are finalizing the report. And that's it practically. So let's give it the final try before we are done with this video, right? And again, we have a number of analysts read the same question about model context protocol, and well, let's give it a try. So I'm running it. And the same team proposed, and the same problem I don't see here, a software developer, which I liked a lot, right? And we are on human feedback, and the same feedback that I'm providing, that we are missing the guy who actually knows how to develop things. And I'm updating the graph, we are resuming it. And we have a team of new people. And then we are continuing our graph, and I'm just going to print the progress by providing the node name. Okay, it finished, and take a look. We had 3 different nodes run in parallel, where analysts were interviewing experts. And this is true because we have a team of 3, right? And then as they finished, we have this report conclusion, report introduction, and summary. And then as a final step, we finalize the report using these 3 pieces of information, like gluing them together. And also we can get the current graph state, the final one, then we can fetch the report and show it. So we see the final result of that. And this is the result of working in a team of analysts. Whew, it was a very long video. I'm really tired showing this stuff, but it was necessary because finally we applied a lot of concepts that you learned already, but now you can see them working together in complex solution. And I hope now you have a feeling how all these multi-agent systems look under the hood. And it was me, Evgeny. Again, I really appreciate that you stayed with me till the end. It was a really hard thing. And well, I will see you in the next video about LangGraph. So stay in touch, and thank you, and bye-bye.